It's Tuesday afternoon. If you're wondering what that sound is, if you can hear it, that's the installation of a solar farm going on across the fields. That's not what we're on today. What we're on is in the van. I'm finally starting to organise this stuff out here. So, what I'm thinking at the minute, to make my plates easier to get out, because at the minute when I use them, it's a bit tight. I've got to pull them out because they're all leaning up against each other, so I'm going to put little dividers in to help separate them a bit, is what I've decided to go with. I was going to try to do them stacked flat and up and make like a little drop-in holder thing, but that just feels way too complicated for now. So I've reorganised it. The bowls are behind the cups. That'll all work fine. What I want now is a piece of plywood coming across here that'll hold these plates in, and then another one across here that'll hold these smaller ones. So I've measured it up. It's 30 centimetres long, and I reckon going about 3 inches high. There's a good mixture of measurements there. Should be enough to stop the plates from falling over. And then I think that's that little bit sorted of the rest of it. And my cupboards at the minute look like that. If I try to drive anywhere, that's just going to all slide all over the place. And I am intending to go climbing in about an hour, so I'll try and make this a bit quick. I have set up in the garage. Try to transition that there so I don't have to blur out my license plate. I've set up in the garage. Got the piece of ply that I can use. I think I can get both pieces out of that. And I've got my jigsaw. Decide what blade I want to put in. Problem is, I dropped these ages ago and now they're all kind of mixed up, so I'm not really sure which is which anymore. But I reckon we'll go for this fine-toothed one here. That should do the job nicely. Is there outhouse that I want before starting up? I don't think so. I just need to measure this up. So this piece of wood that I've got isn't square. This side here angles out. This side does a little bit, I think. The bottom should be fine. I don't believe I've cut that by the looks of it. In which case we want to keep that for the bottom piece of at least one piece. In fact, that does look to me to be flat, so we can use that then. Oh, actually, this edge here looks decent. Let me just check that. That might save me an extra cut. Get you on there. Oh, I did cut that piece well when I did it. Excellent. Well, in that case then, all I've got to do is measure 30 centimetres off of that line. So where are we at? I'm wondering actually if this might be better if I put the shotgun microphone on. In fact, it probably would be. I'm going to do that and then I'll catch back up in a bit. If you can't pick up that hammering before, you probably can now. This definitely needs sharpening. You at the bottom. We'll go up you. 30. 30. Cool. Do I freehand this or do I have a guide? I quite happily have a guide. So clamp this piece down onto the pallet. And the same with this one. I believe this pallet is what my first bunch of timber for the van conversion came on back in 2021. It's come in pretty damn handy, this has. Mostly as a makeshift little workbench like this. Let's cut you a little wide, we can always sand you down a bit. Clamp you onto you, and then we'll line up this side here, way out. Where are we looking? Something like that, and then clamp you down. Oh, no, there's a block of wood there in the way. Damn it. You should check these things first, you know, you really should. Alright, we'll clamp you down again. We'll line you back up again. There and there. Good. You on there. That looks good. Then we'll clamp you down. Hey, that worked. Right, let's make sure. Yes. Yes. And I'm cutting just on this far side of the line. So if anything, it should be a little too long. Let's go. Somehow that ended up cutting exactly on the line. Let's take a look at how this has turned out. We should be optimistic and see that it's going to fit perfectly. Except it won't like that because obviously that bar's in the way and this is too tall. So I need to cut it down to size next. I won't show you that bit, I'll show you when it's done. There we go. It's not fitted in yet, it's loose. I've got to figure out how I'm going to fit it in. But that's the general idea, I just need to cut the smaller one next. However, for now, I need to pack all this up and head off down to Churnit for a climb. That's that bit, that's all I'm going to get done for today, I think. I'll be able to finish that off tomorrow, figure out how I'm going to fit it. And then move a little bit further down to sort this lot out. So I'll probably tack that on to this video and do it as one thing. Wednesday. Had a climb yesterday, that was good. Back on this now. This piece just needs sanding down and that's pretty much done. The next piece for the smaller plates holding that, I was going to do it 3.5 inch. That is not worth cutting the strip out just for that. So that piece will do. I keep forgetting this one's directional, not the lav one. Yeah, there's no point cutting the length out for that, so I'm just going to cut out for the beams in the cupboards now and that back angle. I'll show you what that's like when it's done. There we have it, something like that. Because I am parked on the other drive that my car usually is, which slants down, I obviously can't put them in as placeholders and they'll stand, they just fall back over. I've yet to decide how I'm going to get them to stay in place. That's not a problem for right now, but that's the rough idea. I have also realised why there's room for them to slide back and forward, because when I put the tape measure in to measure the length, that back angle there goes down to the back of the beam. Obviously the tape measure wouldn't have got all the way back into that very corner, would it? So that's cost me a couple of millimetres, but oh well. They still fit perfectly well enough for what I want. So I've sanded them. I've sanded some little chamfers onto the edges. That'll be at the top and the front, so they shouldn't cut me up too much. Next thing to do, get some white spirit on them, clean all the dirt and stuff off, and then I think, just for protection, I'm going to give them a couple of layers of paint. Question is, what colour? The cupboard's blue. I've definitely got plenty of the blue left to actually do it blue. I could do that actually. I think I've got a fairly big tub of that blue, whereas the other colours I've got were little ones. My initial thought was black, but I think I might go with blue. Simply because I have a lot more of that to use. So that's going to be it for today, I think. The paint takes 24 hours to dry if I remember correctly, or it might have been 12, but either way it'll be about 24 hours before I can think about putting these in. So this is all the update for today. I shall be back either tomorrow or possibly the day after, hopefully getting these installed, and then I can work my way further down the cupboard and sort that stuff out. Happy Saturday, it's the weekend. I've just managed to finish vacuuming the car in time for the rain to start, so that was good timing. And before that I just got these two bits of wood in there. I had more black paint than I thought, so I went with that rather than the blue, and I think it's actually come out quite nicely. So they're in nice, solid, hopefully solid enough. I can get the bowls and the cups in, and then I had this piece here as an upright piece that was just kind of holding them all in there to begin with. So what I think I'm going to do now is put this piece across there like that, and that'll hold all of that in on that side. I am going to need to cut this piece down, and before I do that, I want to take a piece of wood or something and copy this angle, because this is actually the angle of that back wall in the cupboard. So if I ever need to do anything in the future, that's going to be useful to have. It also means that this is already light flat, perfectly cut at the back at that angle. So, don't worry Dad, that was the garage door, not the shed. I locked the shed so that it wouldn't blow open. So, I'm going to cut this down to size, sand it, and then it's going to be another 24-hour paint job. But I should be able to get that one in tomorrow evening, I think. That leaves me then with this side back here, which is my sauces, tea bags, cling film, chocolate spread, mustard, and cereal. That kind of stuff. I'm not going to make dividers for them. I think what I'll do is get some little plastic tubs that I could put in there and put them in there. So having a few plastic tubs that slide back and forward a little bit is a lot better than having everything in there sliding and falling over. And we'll see how that does me for a bit. There is still quite a bit of wasted space in this cupboard, like above that level. I don't know if I'd be able to get a small shelf in across here. Maybe get one or two items up in there. We'll see. What I also need to do is make a little holder for my cutlery so I can free this jug up. And I'm thinking maybe that cutlery could then go here. But we'll see. For now, I'll get on with this bit, because the sooner that's painted, the sooner it's drying, the sooner I can get it in. So I'll pick this back up later on. Well, the rain's come in. I've got this piece cut down, I just need to do the slots where it drops onto the wood. Then round the front off, and that'll be it. So I'll show you that in a little bit once I've got it done. The good news is, with all this rain, our temporary fix on the window is working. There is no sign of leak at the minute, which I'm rather happy about. Well, I got the fit in very nice. The one small issue, that angle at the back there isn't anywhere near as good as I thought it was originally. Which is a tad annoying. However, I reckon, I mean, this is just pressure fit in at the minute, so I reckon that's strong enough. I could actually maybe put, where are we? I reckon that's strong enough that I could probably put one of these white blocks in the back there and one up the front here, and that'll hold. But I don't think it's worth cutting another piece of wood just for that. It's not a piece that's on show, and it's not being built for sale. So that ain't going to bother me too much. Next up, I need to sand it, paint it, which means I'll probably pick this back up again tomorrow at this point. I think this is the longest it's ever taken me to shoot one of these videos, is days. Right, in that case then, I'll see you again tomorrow. No, I won't. It's not how this works. And there we have it. In. Done. Big plates in. Little plates. Bowls. Cups. Sorted. Now I've just got to figure out what I'm doing with the other side. But that is not a this weekend problem. This weekend's work is done. So I need to tidy all of this up. Tidy the garage up. And then I think I'm done. So I believe this video has just been this one project. It's been pretty much all week, this one. I'm pretty sure that's all that's in this one. So there you go, start to end. When did I start this? Tuesday? Today's Sunday? Yeah. Still, it's a good job done. Partway through, just figure out how I'm going to store those bottles of sauces and stuff now. I think I said yesterday about getting some little boxes to put them in, and that's what I'll be looking at. That's another bit of organisation in here done, and that should make that much better for driving round. So again, I don't know what the length of this one's going to be, because I yesterday edited a climbing video for Up the Roaches. That was from, oh no, not a climbing video, that's the one I edited today. Yesterday was the other Roaches one. That was the same weekend. That was my weekend Up the Roaches, where I just sat in the van and read all day and thought that'd be a short 15, maybe 20-minute video. I think that's wound up about an hour and 40 something. An hour 46 maybe. God knows how I ended up with all that footage. I did consider splitting the third day off into a separate video, but it came under the 2-hour mark, so I'll leave it in as one. Good job I'd already decided whilst I was there to separate out the climbing footage. Else it would have been another 30 to 40 minutes on top of that. So yeah, that's it for this one. Not sure what project I'll tackle next in here, whether it be the other side of that cupboard or getting round to the underbed stuff at last. I do need to put a light in the back of the underbed actually. That's something that needs doing in the next month or two. So I'll leave you there. Thanks for watching, and subscribe if you want to see more. Goodbye.